Alors, je vais vous présenter brièvement la présentatrice de ce soir, qui se nomme Scherly Etienne. Scherly est d'abord la fille de notre bien-aimée directrice de Tabitha Perrette-Turenne. Perrette-Durandis, excuse-moi, c'est moi qui est Turenne. Ben, Turenne-Durandis. Euh, donc, étant la petite sœur de Perrette, Shelly se trouve à être ma bien-aimée nièce. C'est un plaisir de la voir ce soir. Euh, Shirley est mariée à Brian Etienne. Elle est avant tout un enfant de Dieu et elle est très impliquée au niveau de l'Église, de Tabitha et de la communauté de façon plus large. Est-ce pourquoi elle a fait des études en travail social, un peu comme sa tante, et elle a aussi une maîtrise dans ce domaine-là. Donc, ce soir, elle va nous partager des informations au niveau des trucs et des stratégies pour mieux budgéter, pour mieux gérer notre argent. Nous savons que nous vivons dans une société où les choses sont financièrement difficiles. Donc, c'est très important de prendre le temps de bien gérer notre argent afin d'en profiter le plus possible pour ne pas faire face à des difficultés encore plus grandes. Alors, étant une native des États-Unis, Shirley est plus à l'aise en anglais. Donc, elle va faire sa présentation en anglais. J'ose croire que tout le monde ici comprend l'anglais. Si ce n'est pas le cas, fais-moi savoir et je vais pouvoir traduire soit en français ou en créole pour vous. Mais à la fin de la présentation, sentez-vous à l'aise de poser vos questions en français ou en créole. Et s'il le faut, je vais traduire également. Alors, sans plus tarder, I will give the virtual mic to Shirley. Uh, take it away.
Thank you, Sassy Marlin. Thank you for having me tonight. Hi, my name is Shirley Etienne. I am happy to be here with you all. Today we will talk about budgeting and saving, and I'll share my screen in a minute. Just want to get that up there first. Give me 1 second. Um, I'm just gonna go here and present. Yes. So today we will talk about tips and tools on budgeting and savings. I'm just going to make my disclaimer right now. I am not a professional. I'm not a professional, but I've been through the walk with budgeting and savings. Thanks to my husband, honestly, he has taught me a lot, and the books that we read together and got some tips and tools. We have seen the benefits of those tools. And I was talking to my mom about like an idea that can be taught or talked about for Avi for the Saturday night sessions. And I was thinking tips and tools on budgeting and savings because why not for the new year? We learn how to save and budget a little better than we did last year. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think so. I think we all could benefit from it. So here we are. I hope these tips and tools help someone or you can help another family member or friend. So again, I'm not a professional, but I definitely want to share with you what I have tonight. So I'm gonna go for 6. Okay. So if you see me looking to the right, my notes are there, but I'm with you all. So the first page we have is why budgeting and saving matters. Most people don't struggle with money because they're bad at math. They struggle because they don't always know where the money is actually going. A budget is really just a snapshot of your money. It shows you where your income is going each month, so there are fewer surprises during the month and more informed choices on what you have to pay for during the month as well. It reduces stress and worry about unexpected expenses. And one of the biggest benefits of budgeting is a peace of mind. When you plan for a vacation, when you plan for fun, savings, and bills, you can enjoy spending money without guilt or fear of running out of money. Learning how to budget isn't about being perfect at all, it's about being intentional with your money. Even simple budgeting habits can completely change how confident and more in control you are about your finances. So now that we know why budgeting matters and how you can see that it could benefit your life a little bit better, let's look at how it could actually create, how we could actually see it in real life and how it could probably apply to your life. I just want to tackle some common myths about budgeting. When people hear the word budget,
Your slide is not moving. You didn't click on present yet?
I did. I'm on I'm
It's
on
not
the slide.
it's not showing.
Huh. Okie dokie then. Give me 1 second. Is it showing now?
Yes.
Okay. Still showing, correct?
Yes, but there's a little slide on the right. You should click present on it, I think.
I am presenting. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Oh no. Okay. Let me stop sharing. I don't think it's sharing the entire. Whenever I press present, it goes to another page. So let me try something else. Um, I'm gonna stop sharing. I stopped pressing present. Now let me try share. Here, share. Huh. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
But you could try whatever you did last time because we were able to see the next page. Yeah,
Okay.
it seems good now.
Okay, let me just try to. Is it still okay or
Yeah, it looks okay.
I made it bigger. I made it full screen. Did you see that or
It's fine.
okay.
Just go ahead. No worries.
Okay. Um, when people hear the word budget, they often have an instant negative reaction to it, and a lot of that comes from the myths that they probably hear. So we're going to tackle just a few of them that I saw around the internet. First one was budgeting is too complicated. A lot of people picture spreadsheets, apps, a lot of work regarding numbers, and that stops them from even beginning this process of budgeting. The reality is, budgeting can be incredibly simple. It can be as basic as writing down anything in a notebook or even on your phone. You can budget if you're able to do any of those things. Another myth is budgeting means I can't enjoy life. That was probably the biggest myth of all. A budget doesn't take away the fun, it actually protects. It protects it. When you plan for your fun money or vacation money, you know it's there and you can spend it without any guilt or stress. Instead of wondering, can I afford this? Can I afford that? You know, the answer is yes, yes, I can because you have that budget there. And myth number three, it's too late for me to start. This one may be a popular one as well, especially from adults who feel like they should have started earlier in life. But the truth is, it's never too late to benefit from budgeting. Whether you're starting a new job, your first job, or planning for retirement, knowing where your money goes always helps. So, budgeting isn't complicated. It doesn't ruin your life. It never is too late to start. It's actually one of the simplest tools for gaining control of peace of mind. Are you able to see the next slide?
No, it's not moving.
No, it's not moving.
Okay. How about here? Can you see it here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just leave it here. I won't make it larger, unfortunately.
I guess you're gonna have to click on each one of them when you're doing it because it's not going one after another.
It's
Open.
interesting. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get that, but that's weird because okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. I'll just try to zoom it. So, okay, so with this slide here, we're going to talk about how to create a budget. This is where people expect things to get complicated, but it's actually very straightforward if you make it that way. Budgeting could come down to three simple steps. And number one, there, list your income. You can start by writing down all the money that comes into your household, that comes into your pockets. That could be from your job, some type of allowance, a side job, anything you know that you receive regularly. Um, we're focusing on what you actually have to work with, not what you wish you had or you're expecting. Like, like someone has to owe you money and but you don't know when that's coming. We're not relying on that money. We're relying on what you actually receive and you know that's coming each and every month or week. Um, Next step is identify your expenses. Well, you start with the basics, of course, which is housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, health-related costs, whatever that may be, that you consider as an expense. These are your non-negotiables, the things that need to be paid first, and you know that needs to be paid first. And once you see everything written out, you gain clarity instead of guessing, what do I need to pay this month? And then the third one is set savings goals. After income and expenses, this is where the magic happens. Savings aren't that what's left over by accident, it's planned. Savings is meant to be planned. When you look at your income minus your expenses, you can decide how much to save intentionally, even if it's a small amount, because small, consistent amounts does add up and become what you want it to be over time. A budget isn't about perfection. Once again, I will probably say that often. It's about awareness. Once you know your numbers, you can start making choices that actually support your goals. And in this next slide, I hope you guys could see. So here is a slide. I don't know if you guys can see it well. I hope you can. This slide is just an example, not a perfect budget. This is just an example of what a monthly budget would look like, something like it. The goal here is to show what is real, what what a real working budget might look like at least. So at the top here, we write the month that we're doing the income for. This example, excuse me. This example includes a fixed household income, which is $5,000. And it also adds an additional income like the bonus, the 300. So altogether it's 5,300. Then we go to the middle section there where it says category, amount used and saved. I didn't fill it all out, but I just wanted you to see how it would look like or start off to look like. So we would then break down the expenses into categories. So the things like rent, utilities, groceries, entertainment, like Hulu or Netflix. Some of these are a fixed amount, so you know what's going to be pulled out of your income or what needs to be pulled out to be paid for, and they don't change every month. And the others that could be listed, like dining out or gas, that may vary. So that's why it's called flexible. It may vary month by month or week by week. Everyone's numbers, of course, will look different. Some people spend more in housing, others spend more in transportation or even childcare. But what matters is that your budget reflects your life and it would make sense to you. Notice that the savings show up inside the budget. So the far right where it says saved. you're being mindful of what you're saving as the month goes on. Um, excuse me. There's money set aside for things like emergency funds and future goals, which we'll get into a little bit later. That's important because savings should be planned again, not accidental. It should be a known thing that you're naturally doing. After income and expenses, the budget still has money left over. With this example, I showed on the bottom $745. That's the power of budgeting, knowing exactly where your money is going and being able to make intentional choices with what remains. So we can do something with that $745. I could place it in an emergency fund or somewhere else. This example just shows that the budgeting isn't about restriction. It's about clarity, where my money's going, control, having control of where it's going, and confidence in knowing what the outcome is. So practical saving tips that really work. So saving doesn't usually fail because people don't know what to do. It fails because the changes feel too big. These tips work because they're simple and realistic. So these are just a few things I wanted to share. So you can use it, you don't have to use it, it's okay. I just wanted to share these. So the first one is about automatic transfers. And this is one of the easiest ways to save money. Um, Even something as small as like $10 a week, that could add up over time and you don't have to even think about it. It's automatically set to be in a savings account. When savings happen automatically, you're less tempted to save that money or to use that money. So that's already pushed already to the side. The second bullet point talks about using the envelope method. This one is great for people who like visuals or struggle with overspending. So what you would do is you would put cash in envelopes and you would label it for groceries, gas, personal spendings, whatever you would usually need to use weekly. And when the envelope is empty, when you already spent the money that was already labeled in that envelope, that category is done for the month. Like you cannot cannot add until the next month. Using cash makes spending feel more real, like your money's actually leaving your hands and what you're receiving, it's actually in your hands. It's easier to overspend with a credit card, but when you physically see money leaving your hands, you tend to slow down a bit. Um, Another thing is compare prices. You don't have to be extreme, but just pause before you buy something. Just do your comparison. Comparing prices or choosing a cheaper option might save only a few dollars at a time, but again, small amounts does add up over time and does add quickly. Um, Next one is a good one. Have one no spend day a week, which means you don't buy anything that isn't absolutely necessary in that one day. So that one day a week you can reset your spending habits and make more choices that you're aware of so you can eliminate those spending habits. Another thing that could probably fly under the radar is subscriptions. A lot of money disappears through subscriptions that we barely use. So canceling or downsizing even one or two services can free up money every single month. And then that last bullet point is about daily spend. It's just being mindful of your daily spending. It's usually not that the big purchases that cause trouble. It's the small ones that that we do daily. So like the coffee that we buy or the tea, the snacks that we eat or eating out. That doesn't seem like much in the moment, but over time, they add up really fast. So you don't have to do all of these things. Just maybe one or two you want to try out just to see if there's a difference. But just remember that small, consistent changes create big results at the end. So I did mention emergency fund before, and I definitely want to touch on that. An emergency fund isn't about being wealthy, it's about being prepared for real life. Um, why it matters. So life happens. We know that cars break down, um, medical bills pile up or pop up, things at home need fixing, but an emergency fund can help handle those moments without any panic, right? Um, Without savings or emergencies often turn into credit card debt or loans because we need to figure out where the money is coming from to pay off this debt or to pay off whatever it needs to be paid off. Having cash set aside reduces the need to borrow when something goes wrong or something is needed. So that's very important. It also creates the last bullet point underneath why it matters. It gives tremendous emotional security, and this one is probably the most underrated benefit. Knowing you have emergency fund can give you a tremendous peace of mind and reduce financial stress completely, not completely, but for the good chunk of it, I would believe so. So how do you start that? A lot of people get stuck because they think they need thousands of dollars to start an emergency fund, and that's not the case. Instead, you can always aim for like a smaller milestone, like $300, and then work your way up to 1,000. It doesn't have to be immediately like tens of thousands of dollars. So like after that, you would build gradually. You slowly work toward about like a 3 month expense, 3 months of expenses. This doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. Again, it's slow and steady. That term, slow and steady, wins the race. That's literally what savings is about. So adding like $5, $10, $20 at a time may not feel like much, but consistency matters more than the size. The consistency, the pattern that you have matters more than the size. And keeping your emergency fund in a separate savings account where you don't touch it as much does help reduce temptation. It does, you can always look at it, but like don't touch it, don't touch it so you can have that savings keep piling up. It's there when you truly need it, not for everyday expense. Emergency is an emergency. An emergency fund doesn't just protect your money, it again protects your peace of mind. And that's hopefully the key that's being mentioned or you're thinking about as you go through these slides with me. This next one is for tips with families budgeting together. I hope this is helpful for families. So I don't have a lot, but I just want to definitely share when families budget together, it's not just about money, it's about teamwork. Teamwork. I've read a lot about that, especially when you're blending families together. It's all about teamwork. Budgeting works best when it's not all on one person. Sharing responsibilities helps everyone feel included and accountable. It also reduces stress and misunderstandings. Um, you don't need to meet long. You can sit down once a month together and just chat. Just short check-ins once a month. This is a time to review what worked in the previous month, what didn't work, and what's coming up in the following month that you all need to talk about, that needs to be something needs to be paid off, or just talk about what the money is looking like and what's to come. Think of it as a financial checkup, not a lecture. You don't want to like lecture in this conversation, you want a dialogue, of course. Um, every family values different things. So it could be housing, it could be travel, education, giving. So just agree on spending priorities. Talking through priorities helps avoid conflict and help everyone move in the same direction. And communicate openly. Open communication is the most important part. Be honest about challenges, mistakes, or expectations for the month ahead. And the goal isn't perfection in these meetings, it's about progress and understanding how to move forward and progress. Um, the budget should reflect shared goals and not just bills. So a family budget works best when everyone is feeling heard and they're feeling respected and involved in the process. And with those basic tips, I think the meeting up in once a month could definitely evolve into greatness. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about debt. So of course, be mindful of debt. And I know that could have a heavy part in budgeting and seeing where your money is going. So I'm going to briefly talk about it because I could relate a lot to the debt part. So since, we're talking about savings and we're talking about budgeting, might as well talk about debt. So debt quietly takes money from your future. Interest means you're paying more than the original cost, and that also adds up fast. The goal isn't to scare anyone with debt or, anything like that. It's to be intentional and informed about what you borrow, and why. So budgeting helps you see debt clearly instead of avoiding it. When debt is part of the plan, it's easier to manage and eventually it's reduced. If you have debt, you're not alone. You are not alone, and it doesn't define you at all. So just being aware. Awareness is honestly the first step towards your goal into canceling your debt completely. So we're going to just talk a little bit more about that. So common types of debt and why it can be a problem. So debt comes in many forms, and most people will experience at least one at some point in your life. So credit cards, debt usually has the highest interest in credit card debt. That means balances can grow quickly if they're not paid off on time. They're very strict on that for sure. Every debt, with the deadline is student loans, excuse me, they're most common and often necessary for schooling. And the key is understanding the long-term repayment and planning for that. And then there's car loans. We have mortgages, personal loans, maybe borrowing from family, friends, or just personal investments, things like that. So why debt can be a problem. So interest, again, that's the problem. That's one problem. Interest means you're paying more than the original price. The longer it takes to repay, the more expensive it becomes. So that definitely could be a problem. And monthly payments reduce the money available for savings, emergencies, and fun or vacation. Too many payments can make budgeting feel so tight and restricted that, you just want to toss budgeting out the window at that point. So that's another problem that could, happen with debt. And then it can cause stress, anxiety, things like that. And it can also delay goals like savings or your goals with traveling or your family goals that you had together, or buying a home or anything like that. Debt isn't just about what you owe, it's about how it affects your future. So let's talk about methods. A method that I can speak to that has worked for me, and I would like to share that with you. So the debt snowball method, Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey, I don't know if you all know him, but he's a well-known American personal finance expert. He's famous for his debt-free approach to money management, promoting budgeting and eliminating debt. And this method that I'm going to mention is from he in one of his books, and it focuses more on behavior and motivation than the interest rates. So I'm going to go through the steps and then talk about my experience. So first step, list your debts from smallest to largest. So you list all your debt again from the smallest balance that you have and to the largest on a piece of paper or whatever form you want to write all of your information on. But just ignore the interest rates. Just see the amounts that you're seeing right now. This might feel backwards, but there's a reason for it. Once you do it and you get into it and you do your own research, you'll see it. Step two, minimum payments on everything else. So you continue making minimum payments on all debts so nothing falls behind. This keeps your credit and accounts in good standing because you are paying on time. Step number three is attack the smallest debt. So any extra money you have goes towards the smallest debt. When that debt is paid off, you get a quick win, and then you'll feel that motivation, and that matters. Step four, take what you were paying on your smallest debt and add that to your payment on the next smallest debt until it's gone. So this is where the snowball effect happens. Your payments get bigger and more powerful since you're paying off the next one. That's next in line. And then step five, repeat until you're debt free, pretty much. You repeat this process until everything is paid off. As each debt disappears, progress speeds up and confidence grows. So this method works because it motivates people. Seeing progress quickly makes it easier to stay consistent. So the debt snowball method may not save the most interest mathematically, but for many people, it works because it helps them actually stick with the plan. And when thank God, I was able to pay off my school loans and by using this method. Um, so in my loans, there were like different ones. I think there was like seven. And so what my husband actually, thank you, Brian, he gave the idea of like knocking out the smallest loan debt that I had and then work my way up. And so we did that. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like to budget. I didn't like any of that in the beginning. But when I saw the fruits of the labor, I was like, oh, this feels amazing. Like it's so nice to know that we just paid off the smallest debt of my student loans. And then whatever money we were giving to that small debt, we then applied it to the next one. That was the next highest one. And then it kept going and kept going. And then I ended up paying it all off. And I thank the Lord for that. But it was the best feeling. And literally staying consistent and just being prayerful and just being disciplined as well definitely helps. So I just wanted to share this method because I've been through it and I felt, a difference and I've seen a difference. And so I hope that maybe this could be something you can consider if you're dealing with debt as well. So we're at the part of the, I hope works, but we're at the part of the presentation where I want to do like a quick review question with you all. If you guys want to type it in the chat or take yourself off of mute and just answer, but I feel like you'll see the answer. But I'm going to try my best to do this. So this first question I had is, what is the first thing you should decide before shopping? If anyone knows the answer, they can just shout it out. If not, I'll just move on over.
You need to have a budget.
Yes, that is correct. You do need to have a budget. That's very important. You don't want to just go out and just spend, spend, spend. Just know in your head, like you have a max of using this amount to buy X, whatever you need to buy. So having a budget is very wise to do before stepping outside and doing what you have to do.
Vous voulez traduire en même temps, Manono?
Oh, sorry.
Oui, OK. Donc, question qui t'est posée tout à l'heure, c'est qui ça doit faire en premier avant que Wal magasiner? Eh bien, réponse c'est que ou besoin un budget. Donc, ou pas doit juste arriver dans le magasin et puis pour le prendre surprise dans cash dans le payer. Faut te déjà connaître combien ou décider de payer l'arrivée dans cash.
Thank you. This next question is, do you use less money using a credit card or do you use less money using cash?
Question ça, c'est demander est-ce que vous utilisez moins l'argent lors vous utilisez carte, que ce soit crédit ou débit, ou bien lors utiliser l'argent comptant? Some people responded in the chat saying, I don't think I see it. Cash.
Yes.
Donc,
Yes, that's
right
correct.
answer.
Yes, correct. Yes, cash, because you are tangibly seeing your money leave you, but also you have more control of what you're able to spend. So great. So, all the answers. Okay. Why does budgeting and saving matter? There's not one answer to this, there's many, but why do you think budgeting and saving matter?
Pour qui ça, là, nous fait budget ou là, nous essayer faire économie, pour qui ça, c'est important? I think someone responded you are more in control. Someone else said, keep up with spending.
Yeah, those are great answers so far. Keep them coming, of course. And I just listed a couple of things here, but it really, the list can go on and on. So I have here budgeting helps you see clearly where your money is going. It reduces stress and worry about unexpected expenses, allows you to enjoy life without guilt or fear of running out of money. And knowing how to create a budget can make a huge difference in your life. So this is a true and false one. I have two coming up. So if you have not started a budget and save, it's too late for you. If you have not started to budget and save, it's too late for you.
Question vrai ou faux? Si ou peut commencer et travailler son budget pour économiser, il est un peu trop tard. Everyone is saying no, no, no. It's never too late.
That is correct. That it's never too late to start saving. That is right. And this is also another one. An emergency fund is not important to have when budgeting.
False.
False.
Un fonds d'urgence, pas important, leur fait budget. Vrai ou faux? Everyone is saying false. Someone said it's important to have that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you guys. That is so correct. That's so right. So this is the last question we have. I mentioned it. I was a witness of this for my own experience. So what is a debt payoff strategy that we talked about earlier? Does anybody remember the name of that strategy or that method?
Qui stratégie ou méthode que li mentionné qu'on ka utiliser lors vle payer dette?
Is it called snowball?
Someone said I forgot the name.
It's okay.
The person before you responded.
I love the honesty
Snowball.
though. Yes, debt snowball method. Definitely. That's honestly, I'm so happy I'm a witness of that method, and I'm preaching it to y'all just to see if you want to take your chance on it. So we're gearing the end of it, and I just want to give some encouragement for the journey if you decide to take that for 2026. So I want to end by reminding you of something important. This journey is not about being perfect with your numbers, with your money. It's not about being perfect. It's progression over perfection. So progress
Ok, pas de problème. Pas de
more
problème.
than perfection. Small steps taken consistently are far more important than big plans that never start. Every step forward counts. Financial freedom isn't just about comfort. It increases our ability to give, to serve others, and to rest without constant worry. When money isn't controlling us, we're freer to give generously and peacefully. So these habits aren't just financial, they're spiritual disciplines as well, if you think about it. They teach stewardship, self-control, and trust, and intentional giving and intentional living. They shape our hearts, not just our bank accounts. So you don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You just need one small step, one small faithful step. So I found this verse and I think that it could resonate with someone. So Proverbs 16, verse 3, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. When we bring our finances to God with humility and faith, we're not walking this journey alone. So notice it doesn't say commit your perfect plan to the Lord. It says commit your work. That might be writing your first budget, saving a small amount, or having an honest conversation about your money and actually knowing where it's actually going and what needs to be changed. When we take faithful steps and place them in God's hands, He brings clarity, stability, and peace over time. One step is enough to begin. So, faithful steps, taking consistency can lead to a lasting change. And so that's where I say thank you. I appreciate your time. Again, I'm not a professional. I just want to share, the
Stop
things that.
saying that. You are.
Oh, no. But thank you so much, everyone.
Well,
Sorry.
thank you. That was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Bravo.
for this wonderful presentation. Very, very useful and informative.
Thank you.
Donc maintenant, nous arrivons dans le moment pour questions, commentaires. As I said earlier, feel free to speak in English. Vous pouvez parler en français ou bien nous pouvons parler créole. If need be, I will translate. Je vais traduire pour nous si nous avons besoin. Nous sommes capables de parler et ouvrir le micro ou bien nous pouvons mettre des questions ou commentaires dans le chat. Monique said, great tips, great presentation.
Oh, thanks.
Agree. Oui, Perrette à la main levée, vas-y.
Oh,
OK, merci, Scherly, pour belle présentation. Ça, qu'on on répète plusieurs fois, c'est pas, on va pas professionnel, mais information très professionnelle parce que les montrer nous exactement qui ça que nous devons faire pour être capable de changer dynamique là pour faire sur finance personnelle. Question que me gagne et que Marlène peut être capable et interpréter pour nous, c'est est-ce que, comme si me réalisais que moi, dépenser plus que l'argent que me rentrer. Parce qu'en pile fois, non, parce que nous n'avons pas de budget, là, si nous mettons chiffres à terre et puis nous réaliser que l'argent nous dépensé, est plus que l'argent qui rentrait dans moi. On est capable de créer panique, qui conseil est capable de faire dans le genre de bail, dans une situation pareille.
What advice would you give someone who realized that their expenses are much higher than their income?
it's a good question. Again, I'm not a professional, but if I was in that situation, I would still write down everything that I have. I'll still do the steps, like list everything that I'm receiving as income and then the expenses and see what I can eliminate if possible. Because if there's a place that you really don't need to keep giving money to, a payment or something that you can just cancel, I would just remove that from my lifestyle. And that would probably help. Another option, if I were to think about it, is if you had the bandwidth for this, maybe do like a side job, maybe like, Uber or, do something small on the side that you can actually get more income. But if you're not able to, just go ahead and remove that expense that you really don't need anymore. And hopefully it could balance each other out.
Donc, réponse à la question qui t'est posée, hein, c'est si vous réalisez que vous dépensez plus que l'argent qu'on rentrer, truc que Shirley mentionnait, c'est que vous êtes capable d'éliminer quelques dépenses qui pas trop utiles ou bien qui pas trop importantes, ou bien on peut faire un petit job à côté pour payer les coûts d'extra. Et moi-même, de côté par moi-même, tu es capable d'ajouter tout un bagage qui est faisable. Parce que des fois, où qu'on a fait un certain income, mais for some reason, ou perdre du job ou bien un bagage qui arrive qu'on pas gagner autant, et puis on vient réaliser que on gagne moins qu'on va pas entrer, que sortir qu'on n'a pas habitué à payer, ou capable de régler certains, if you could be the phone company. You can make some arrangement with them. Ou capable de régler côté ça yo, sou pour qu'on gagne comme blanc pour bayo, ou font plan avec yo, ou dit yo, est-ce que tu pour me payer 1000, m'pa gen 1000 lan pour m'ba ou, est-ce que m'ka ba non 300 mois ça, 300 l'autre mois, you do some sort of arrangement with some companies. That could be a way also
Yeah,
to plan
that's
until you're able to back up, get back up and pay everything.
that's true. Like if there's an expense that you know that you can't get out of, or it's nothing you
Yeah,
can't cancel, you can definitely set like a plan with them and do like a payment plan that you know that yourself can be consistent with instead of like stretching yourself thin.
exactly. D'autres questions, commentaires? Um, you understand Creole and French, right?
I think
Or
I'm okay. Yeah.
yeah, okay. If you see, if I say something in Creole or French you don't understand,
Yeah.
please let
Okay.
me know.
Will do.
But I will speak in French and Creole so
Yeah.
to be easier.
Yeah.
Donc, moi, remè le Scherly te mentionné, faut gon budget avant ou al magasiner. Et c'est une nan bagay moi, c'est personnellement apprendre ti moun mwen yo. Par exemple, jeune homme moi, lè l'entre dans magasin, ça rive dans caisse là. Li kon di, oh, I didn't expect it to be that much, and he still paid. Okay, I'll pay. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, that's not how to do it. And if you realize, even when you get to the cash, if the amount is way higher than what you expected to pay, there's nothing wrong to say, you know what, remove this, remove that, remove this, and you don't have to pay it because you get there. It's always an option to readjust. Là nous réaliser que comme blanc trop que ça nous t'es planifié payer, même là nous dans magasin nous commande retirer quelques bagages pour nous capable rester on budget.
Yes.
Question, commentaire, vous êtes très silencieux. Perrette?
Oui, question ça, c'est pas pour moi, c'est un mon audience qui gagne, c'est Mianta, les modèles, qui conseille au capable bail, un monde qui remet al shopping, surtout les stressés, les déprimés.
What advice would you give someone as a way to deal with stress? They just go and shop. They go do all sorts of shoppings when they're stressed.
When they're stressed. Good question. I would, I want to say self-discipline, but I know that's not easy, especially when you're stressed and all you want to do is like, swipe or pay. I'm trying to think of one of the options, like maybe like cash envelopes. Just if you know that you want to shop or you're able to shop and you have the envelope method where you have the cash in there, maybe you can just take that and only spend what's in that envelope. But that's just know that's it for the month. You're not gonna have to, you can't use anything more. It's that what's in the cash envelope. And if there's another hobby or another thing you're interested in that you know that could help you as well, you can go ahead and try that method. I would, it's a good question. I'm trying to put myself in that scenario. I would try to discipline myself or maybe have an accountability partner, to be honest, to help me not do that. Um, and hopefully they could stop you. I don't know what ways will stop you, but
Mhm.
or maybe you can hand someone your credit card, hand someone your wallet, and to stop you from not going anywhere. Because I understand that some people diverts to food, some people divert to different things, but it honestly does come to discipline and just acknowledging that, okay, I do have a problem. This is my go-to and trying to
Mhm.
talk to someone about it. I do think maybe accountability partner can definitely help as well.
Oui. Donc, nous ka gon moun nan vi nou qui représente on sorte de mentor pour nous. Lè nou besoin dépenser, moun sa ka ba nou conseil. Li ka même ouvrir genou si nous vle dépenser trop. Donc, c'est toutes des façons, nous doit discipliner tête nous pour pour nous capable dépenser l'argent de la bonne façon. And we have Aiden who made a comment in there saying, before I go shopping, I check my balance and then check the prices of the product. I'm buying. That is very wise because if you realize that you don't have enough money, then you shouldn't even go and get that product.
Yeah.
We have those people called shopaholic,
Shopaholics, yeah.
shopaholic, and moi connais des monde que you connais you concept, but they're saying I can't help it. I have to buy. I see this online. I have to buy it, and then at the home it's like a little mall. They're just piling up stuff that they don't really use. Donc c'est des choses vraiment. Des fois, ça prend de l'aide professionnelle pour aider. Si on trouve que les ont problème, faut le dépenser, le pas arrêter. Donc, ça prend des fois de l'aide professionnelle pour aider avec ça. OK, so we have Marie Janvier. Vas-y.
Oui, bonsoir. Oui, question, bonne année à tous. Question, moi, je connais, je dit stress, mais je connais ma dit depress. Je connais, dans fin d'année, en pile, mon depress, il y a une dépression, les allocations docteur et psychologue ou psychiatre, il dit, I'll go shopping and so you can, elevate mood. Et qui conseille au cabin moun sa yo, les psychologues yo di yo aller go shopping. So, qui conseille au cabin moun sa yo? Est-ce que supposé tendez sa psychologue la di ou bien? Yeah. C'est question.
I think I understand. Yeah. So I'm assuming it's like if a doctor or psychologist or someone tells you like, you know what, go out, go shopping, feel better type of
As
message.
Yes.
for someone who's going through depression, that might be a suggestion of a psychologist, for instance, saying, "How about you go out shopping to put yourself in a different mood?"
So many responses are coming in my head.
Go
But,
see another psychologist.
So, yeah, that's interesting that they would suggest that because they wouldn't even know what your financial situation looks like. So, at this point, you are in control of the next decision. You can ask your psychologist if you trust them enough to say, like, is there any other options you can suggest if if you're willing to get their advice? Is there anything else? Because I'm not trying to spend money right now. You can just be honest with that. I'm trying to save. I'm not trying to spend. Is there any other options that I can do instead of shopping? Um, I mean, if you have the means, of course, you can do just like, maybe even the Five Below store. Nothing too crazy, just something that would put a smile on your face because if shopping is something that pleasures, you just don't go beyond your means. Get whatever is in your budget, what you're able to use, what you know that you won't fall behind with any other type of expenses. But I do want to stress though that budgeting, saving is you have to be disciplined. Yes, doctor may say like, go shopping, go, do this, but be wise in your decisions because it's ultimately you're the one that's stepping out and going to the store. It's all on you. So you want to be aware of what you're doing with your money, especially if you have a goal for yourself. If you have something planned in the future, you just want to be more mindful of what you're doing with your money. Not saying you shouldn't, but again, just be mindful. Dollar store, maybe Five Below, some place where you're able to put some place that you can buy something that's able to put a smile on your face.
And I would add that, if you really feel the urge of going out and buy, go to a shopping place where things are, the prices are,
Affordable.
I wouldn't say cheap, but affordable. Yeah, that's right. Aller dans magasin côté ba yo pas trop cher.
Thank you.
Thank you. Je voulais dire un bagay tout par rapport à dette côté mentionné. Parce l'homme rive gérer et payer dette ou c'est vraiment en liberté que ça ba ou. Because I remember for myself, if before I was able to afford a home and all that, I had to take care of all my debts and stuff. So once you do that, it's really a financial freedom. Donc, la plupart là, nous comme ça. Donc, le plus que nous arrêter loin de dette, c'est le mieux. Nous, des fois, it's necessary, as you said, especially student loans. Nous pas riches, nous pas un choix prêté pour nous capables d'étudier. But the sooner you pay your debts, then the faster you are able to afford a few things for you. You can even invest your money to make it grow,
Yeah. And something I didn't mention, but I should, debt in America is also a good thing, quote unquote, because it helps you grow your credit score. But the key is you have to pay on time for your credit score to even look good. So just be mindful of that. Yes, like, it's really interesting. When I finished my paying off my student loans, my credit score went down. I don't think they like that too much. They were just like, why did you finish all that too soon, too quickly? But again, it'll gradually make itself go back up. But just be mindful to be on time, to be aware of your debt, and not to let it drown you, because the experience of financial freedom, it's a really great feeling, especially when you see it for yourself.
Exactly. Donc, juste pour récapituler brièvement, j'allais mentionner que le payer, c'est pas problème, non, c'est pas prêter, hein, mais c'est remettre à temps. Donc, lorsqu'on carte crédit, lorsqu'on de l'argent qu'on prêter, c'est important pour remettre yo à temps. Donc, they usually give you about, I think, a month, 30 days to pay off whatever when it comes to credit cards. Donc, toujours assurez-nous que nous payons à temps. En autant que possible, des fois, nous connaissons pas possible, mais en autant que possible, il faut nous payer à temps pour nous capables toujours gagner un bon crédit, un score de crédit qui est adéquat. Perrette, tu as la main levée?
Oui, encore une fois, merci. Tout point est très, très important. Mais comme si il y a une partie que tu as mentionné, que je pas crois que tu attendais, peut-être que tu dis que dépassé, pas attendre, c'est générosité, non? Aider. Parce que, il y a un verset qui dit, celui qui arrose sera lui-même arrosé. Donc, en pile fois, nous dans une situation comme si dans le monde bon côté nous qui n'ont besoin, mais nous gagnons, nous tellement budget, nous, même si nous pas un budget vraiment, mais nous connaissons dépenses pour nous pas le faire, nous pas le faire comme si comme là pas suffit pour me faire tel bagage, pour me faire tel bagage, nous pas qu'à faire un geste, etc. Mais, il prouver que, parce que non seulement celui qui arrose sera lui-même arrosé, parole bon Dieu et encourager nous à être généreux. Et puis, ça c'est une façon pour nous capables d'apprendre à gérer l'argent. Donc, l'heure où, et pour songer que parole bon Dieu aussi dit que à l'éternel, la terre est ce qu'elle renferme, le monde est ce qu'il habite. Comme si, est-ce que tout ça me gagne appartient à Dieu? Si tout ça me gagne appartient à Dieu, et puis me connaît que c'est lui-même qui est en contrôle, donc, moi, gagner, c'est un devoir pour moi-même, pour me capable aider les gens qui sont côté de moi. Donc, c'est une autre façon qui fait que, sans pas réaliser, ou qu'elle doit aider un monde dans un moment de besoin, et puis ou réaliser, quelques temps après, ou venir réaliser que vous gagnez le double ou encore plus que ce que vous là. Donc, nous encourager et dans le budget pour capable gagner une partie pour capable bail. Il y a des gens qui décident que c'est dimnan parce que dimnan elles font travail ou bien ils décident que sont offrandes que yo bail ou bien que yo choisissent une charité que yo sponsor. Donc, mais au moins comme si pas kembe tout pour parce que leur kembe tout pour ou gagner plus chance comme pour struggle. Mais leur songe que c'est bon Dieu qui baille et là he will provide and then you willing to help others. Et ça c'est un autre point que dans le budget qu'on est capable d'additionner tout. Donc, à un moment donné, une personne qui répond sur ta à une question, qui t'a parlé de accountability partner là. Donc, ça, c'est une bagage que je bien content pour venir ensemble avec les tout parce que même encore, verset qui dit que deux puis bon, que yon marché, comme si l'autre marché pour compte, sous tomber, pas grand monde qui pour lever, sous marché avec, sous un partenaire ensemble avec, là, toujours capable, et faut songer, ou tomber, la bonne la main pour lever, mais aussi, si moun nan connaît, ou gen moun ça, c'est partenaire que lié, ou dit, OK, mettre décision prend financièrement, nous t'a remet que pendant année, et, pour checker sur moi de temps en temps. OK? Where am I? Et là, il y a un monde qui est capable de compter sur lui, et puis, comme, capable de travailler ensemble avec les dans ce sens, ça aide autour. Et puis, l'autre bagage que je suis capable d'additionner, c'est gagner un tableau, ou bien un notepad, ou bien un bagage quelconque, un visuel. Un bagage qui est capable de rappeler, OK, mais qui côté, mais qui ça me dit m'a fait, mais qui côté mieux qu'on y a, mais qui programme faire, ça, tout ça et tout, c'est un série de bagages qui est capable d'aider. Donc, c'était une petite addition que je devais mettre en attendant que d'autres questions. En deux fois, je suis assez de lever les descendre. Je ne sais pas si pendant une répondu aux questions, je tout répondre. Mais, yeah. Merci, merci.
Thanks for adding that.
Merci pour ce commentaire, Perrette. Astrid, as-tu une question? Je ne pense pas que je la vois. Peut-être qu'elle est partie. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions ou commentaires? Je pense que it was very clear for everyone what you just said, Shirley.
So I hope 2026 is great for everyone, but definitely financially, you're seeing a difference in your household.
Amen.
Capable de dire un bagage?
Oui,
Tout,
oui.
l'autre, il y a un bagage que tu as mentionné que moi, prends note de lui, c'est the one no spending.
Yeah.
Ça, c'est, parce que il est intéressant, il est important, parce que, faut que dépenser, comme si, régulièrement, comme si un jour passé, pas dépenser, comme si un bagage qui manquait, ils senti genre, débalancé. Et, parce que même le pas fait une grande dépense, faut prendre un café, faut y aller dans Starbucks, faut y aller dans McDonald's, faut y passer un côté quelconque. Nous, ouais, ça, non seulement dans les jeunes qui aiment dépenser, mais il y a grand monde comme ça tout. Donc, tout bail ça yo. Une fois que nous focus sur, comme si nous bail ça en priorité, parce que, en fait, si nous voulons faire un changement, c'est une décision pour nous prendre. Comme vous te dit, we have to be disciplined. So, travail sur discipline là, très important. Et on te parlé de quelques dépenses qui pas nécessaires que le monde capable d'éliminer. Dans tête moi pendant on parler, m'a pensé de quand il y a monde qui a payé pour cable et puis qui gagne deux jobs, il n'y a pas chambre de temps, peut-être qu'il y a là peut-être 10 minutes et puis il dormi devant la télévision. Hein. Mais still à payer comme ça. Comme ça, tu es capable d'utiliser pour faire quelque chose différemment. Et il y a mon tour qui paye gym, mais qui paye mal dans le gym. Donc, ça c'est $20, ça c'est $30, c'est pas rien, c'est pas, pas bagaille. Et pourtant, leur additionner 20, 30, ça y est, ils viennent faire un bon montant pour l'année. Donc, nous pensons que c'est important pour nous capables de penser avec les gens de bagaille, ça y est. Moi, j'ai une remarque. Message ça arrive moi personnellement, donc m'appelé c'est un temps encore qui dit only beware of lending to people who will not return you your money. That's yeah. And then yes, exactly. Donc on va connaître ce que vous voulez dire à ce sujet.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's very important. Especially if you don't know if you'll get it back and you need it back at a certain time. So just being very mindful of what you're giving out. Of course, giving, like you said, Mom, before, very, very important, but just give not expecting anything in return. That's something different. This one is a lending. So this, you just have to be aware that you're not going to get it just don't put a time limit on it, is what I'm trying to say. No, when you can ask them and figure that out, but just don't have it in your head like, oh, I have it this month, so I'll be covered. Just be mindful of who you're lending your money to, and just, yeah, that's something to definitely think about.
And another aspect I wanted to highlight is we need to think also of self care. I know there's lots of promotion on that as we are talking savings and trying to be mindful on how we spend our money. I think when Perret earlier said something along the line of people working two jobs, they don't even have time to watch TV, but they're paying for the TV. How about they cut that money and go to the spa, go to that money that they are spending for no reason on TV, they should have spent it on themselves to do self-care. Donc, mba se li important pou nou pran nan tout kob nap fè yo, nou travay du, fò nou bay tèt nou an ti plezi, fò nou pran soin tèt nou, en même meton kob de kote chaque mois di tèt ou, bon, moi-même, ma prends $20, ma prends $30, m'bral dans restaurant, c'est façon pour me prendre soin tête moi, ou bien m'bral pour un massage, it's important que nous pensions à tête nous, les nap travail du comme ça, faut nous prendre soin tête nous tout. Et non pas faire de façon exagérée, parce que tout doit se faire en modération. C'est parce que soit aller dans un restaurant chaque semaine, on connaît la add up, et puis les cas cher. But once in a while, once per month, c'est important pour nous prendre soin de tête.
Yeah, for sure. For those who are working double shifts and working a lot, and you feel overwhelmed with even thinking about your budget, there are other options like a financial advisor as well, to help you so you don't have to be too overwhelmed. It's not supposed to be an overwhelming experience, but that could probably feel that way for someone that's extra busy with multiple things to do. Or you can just ask an accountability partner for help as well. But definitely self-care and just knowing where your limits are and where you need to care for yourself is important as well.
Exactly. Thank you. Shirley, Marie-Laude, tu as une question? Peut-être ouvrir ton micro, on t'entend pas.
Yeah, merci. Je dois dire un grand merci. Thank you, Shirley, pour la présentation parce que en question de l'argent, c'est pas que peut-être attendre tout le temps. Et bonsoir tout le monde. Meilleurs vœux. Succès pour l'année 2026. C'est question de ces choses qui, pour moi, qui ça nous penser comment nous, qui concerne d'abord des gens qui ont des pensions, par exemple, tu as parlé de partenaires que l'autre, ils sont supposés supporter l'autre. Lorsque ils considèrent que dépenses qui est important avec des dépenses qui pas important. Par exemple, si deux moun non kay et puis il y a un problème parce que yon a dépensé pour bagay de tous les jours, entretien kay là et besoin pour petit moun et gaz de machine, tout bagay ça yo. L'autre là li ouais c'est fixed expenses yo qui important et li une frustration parce que li ouais c'est kay là le payer électricité a bagay ça yo fixe, li ouais contre l'argent. Mais l'autre l'argent qu'a dépensé comme ça yo, entre sorti, aller dans laundry, il pas contre l'argent ça yo passé et la l'autre yon pas comment dire là, yon pas capable d'évaluer et entrer en entente avec comment l'argent dépensé, ça a dit pas dépenser rien, soit fait ou pas ouais soit fait, ça a dit que mais ça le fait assez qui est important, ça l'a fait important tout. Comment mettre l'ordre conseil d'abord pour deux monde ça yo, dans l'ordre qui est-ce que toute dépense importante ou bien dépense qui pour bail valeur, ça ou pas bail valeur dans le budget et comment pour faire pour arriver à un point d'entente.
Do you get it, Scherly, or should I translate?
I got bits of it. Can you translate it, please?
Okay. I think she's talking in the context of a couple.
Yeah.
They don't agree on how the money is spent.
Okay.
One is spending it, in things that the other
For the
one thinks.
maintenance, yes,
Gotcha.
the maintenance of the house.
Okay, that's what I got. I just thought I was missing something.
Yeah.
So basically, if they're on two different pages, how do we get them on the same page? I'm going back to the tips that I had for families and budgeting together. Definitely sitting down and just being straightforward. How I would try to gauge this conversation in my mind, it would be like, addressing your concerns. The one person addresses their concerns regarding budget, and the other person does the same thing as well, and just talk about how the money looks like right now. Literally do a budget meeting. How does the money look like right now? And what expenses do we have to pay for, and what needs to be fixed in the house? Whatever the concern is, wherever they think that the money needs to be, I would just write it.
Marie-Lou, pourrais-tu fermer ton micro parce qu'il y a un bruit en arrière? OK, merci. Go ahead, Scherly, sorry.
No problem. And just like talk about it, like honestly have a raw conversation. That's where it honestly begins. And once that happens, you'll see more concerns maybe pop up, but also you guys could figure it out together, where the money could actually go, what makes the most sense. Like having that raw conversation hopefully opens the mind of the other person and saying, oh, I guess I understand why we should probably apply this money over here versus there. But basically, you guys, you're sharing responsibilities in this one household, but you need to address and review everything that's being spent and what should and should not be spent. Is a decision that you guys both have to take together and hopefully are on the same page. You don't want to lecture them though. Like I said, I think I said that it's not supposed to be a lecture. It's supposed to be an honest conversation. Nothing's supposed to be scary, but open communication, being willing to openly hear them and see from their perspective and hopefully find a solution that makes sense for both of you all is, I would believe, the first step, just to openly communicate.
If I can add to that, I think for some couples, it had gotten to a point where it's very problematic. They went past let's sit down and talk about it. They really need professional help to help them figure this out. Because and it takes a lot of wisdom too. Because some folks will say, "Well, this is my job. It's my money. I do whatever I want with it." They have this attitude. Don't tell me what to do with my money, and it also affects the relationship.
Yeah.
And some folks even broke up on that issue of money. It can get to a level, il peut arriver dans un point côté que mon yo c'est faut y aller un professionnel pour aider yo mettre les bagages yo en ordre parce que yo pas arrivé faire entre yo. Sometimes professional help is needed.
I do think that's where it should lead to. If the first step of communication has left the window, it's not even working anymore, professional help is definitely the next step. Because like you said, it is a problem in relationships and families where money becomes like the main reason for, stuff to happen. So I like that response of professional help if it gets to the point where you just can't do it anymore. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yes. T'es satisfait, Marie-Laude? On va prendre pour acquis que...
Merci. Toutefois que professionnel intervention nécessaire parce que parfois ça dure toute une vie et puis il y a l'autre monde qui vient sentir que malgré tout effort fait qu'il ne faut pas là pas paraître réaliser rien et conseil dans la famille, conseil amis il va suffire voilà. Et professionnel intervention nécessaire. Merci.
Parfait, merci. Donc, je pense que nous avons espace pour une dernière question ou commentaire avant que nous concluons. Il est presque 8 heures. Est-ce que nous avons une dernière question ou commentaire? Marie-Janvier, vas-y.
Question.
Oui, en retan, par contre, si tu parlé de ça, est-ce que ou advise l'on couple pour gagner même un account ou bien chacun gagne account par eux? Chacun gagne account par eux.
On va parler d'un couple.
Oui, pour un couple.
What would be your advice, Shirley? Do you think a couple should have a joint account or separate?
Oh, I don't want to step in anybody's relationship, but I mean, I personally think that there should be a joint, but also a separate. Um, Joint for, well, I guess I'm just gonna say it. Joint for like so what we do, I guess I could just share. We do have a joint where all the expenses are paid in that one joint account. Um, and we allot ourselves, money because we were able to budget that way for self-care, for, our own thing. So if you're trying to build a rhythm within your family, I do think maybe starting off with a joint account so you know where all the money is coming from and what it looks like. See all the expenses go through your account as well. And then when you're at a point where you're able to have like a separate area, you're open to do so. But that's just I think it's a personal question, but I don't mind sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Placide had a comment in the chat room saying there should be no I in a marital relation. Whenever one is saying is my money, it's a sign of a larger issue. There's no I in couple, which is a good point. Mais pour répondre aux questions Marie-Laude, non, c'est pas Marie-Laude, Marie-Janvier, je crois. Comme Shirley a dit, c'est un choix personnel d'un couple à l'autre. Mais moi, pensais, et ça qui était fait pour moi dans le passé, c'est que vous êtes capable d'un joint account, and you could also have a separate account for yourself, un petit peu comme Shirley a dit. Donc, ou pas obligé chaque fois besoin encore pour aller sous joint account là, ou capable encore un compte que vous mettez un certain montant pour même sous les pour aller faire des groceries ou pour aller acheter des petites choses qu'on a besoin. Donc, chaque fois touché, si par exemple vous touchez 3 000, on doit décider de mettre 2 000 ou 2 500 sous compte joint là pour payer bill, pour payer gros l'argent. Et pour qu'ils ont 500 sous compte PAO, pour faire des dépenses de tout et de rien. Donc, ça, c'est une façon de le faire. Même qu'on est dans ces deux couples, you just go on joint account, that's it. Whatever that works best for you, you go with it.
Yeah.
As long as both people agree,
Yeah.
depuis tout le monde est d'accord, c'est comme ça nous voulons faire, ben, quoi, une façon qui est mieux que l'autre. All right. So I think those are all the questions and comments. I don't know if Shirley had some final words.
I don't. I do appreciate the questions. It actually challenges me and want to go back to Brian, like, hey, we got to talk. But so it was really, really great to talk with you all and just have this discussion. Yeah, I hope that something resonates with you all and just, remember to put God first in everything, even your money. And I pray that this year is a great one for you all.
Thank you so much, Shirley. We appreciate the time that you put into this. That was awesome. Thanks so much. And I will let your mom have the final words. Merci tout le monde. Bonne soirée. Et bonne année.
Merci Marlène. Merci Shirley pour belle présentation fait pour nous asseoir. En fait, l'année a commencé. Mon a tendance faire de nouvelles, l'année à nouvelle, il a tendance faire de nouvelles résolutions pour les changements dans la situation. L'année passée à terre, année ça a supposé différent. Année, il y a un changement une résolution que vous aimez prendre, c'est pour financer changer. Ça, nous disons merci en pile parce que vous te prenez temps pour te préparer la présentation, ça va faire pour nous. Bien que c'est, ou répéter plusieurs fois, c'est pas domaine nous, mais information partagée, est très, très important et valuable. So we really appreciate your time and your expertise, even if you say it's not. We're really happy that you had that time with us tonight. What I wanted to add before I thank everyone else, dans dernière conversation nous avons gagné sur couples ou familiaux. Donc, on t'a parlé de family monthly meeting. Je pense comme si conversation style capable d'aller entre les deux mondiaux, je pense que dans le moment meeting yo, écrit, have the things in writing. When you have things in writing, là nous écrit qui ça que nous fait, qui dépense qui fait yo, et puis nous honnête une avec l'autre, ça a permettre que gagner on clarité dans la conversation yo. Donc la vie fait que nous pas gain doute dans dépenses qu'a fait, etc. Donc ça est capable d'aider. Donc have everything in writing and be truthful. C'est ça me écrit dans notre note pour me partager ensemble avec nous. Nous pas faire nous pas juger une l'autre, mais au moins comme si ensemble nous capable faire changement. Ça c'est pour couple et pour chaque monde qui là yo. Nous disons merci en pile du fait que nous étions présents pour nous être capables de participer dans le moment ça. Merci pour les gens qui posent des questions, merci pour les gens qui juste attendent, et peut-être que nous souhaitons que conseil ça yo, nous capables de mettre en pratique et que nous capables ouais, une différence dans la finance non comparé avec l'année dernière, si c'est là, il y a un objectif que nous gagnons pour l'année. Donc, nous souhaitons, non, parce que c'est la première rencontre pour l'année 2026 que nous gagnons ensemble avec eux. Nous sommes contents que nous ayons une chance de participer ensemble. Donc, nous voulons dire bonne année dans les sœurs Tabitha. Nous souhaitons que bon Dieu capable de nous en santé et que nous plus près de lui-même, tandis que nous avons préparé nous pour nous entrer en plein dans l'année avec tout objectif que nous gagnons. Nous souhaitons nos succès dans la finance et puis dans tout l'autre aspect dans la vie. Et nous invitons pour nous capables avec nous samedi prochain parce que dans le moment ça nous parler de l'effet que finance capable de faire sur le monde qui parfois il connaît quand monde stressé quand il y a des problèmes mentally ou instable, etc. Donc et puis avec tout problème que nous avons fait face ensemble avec la société pour le moment dans le pays que nous vivons, États-Unis, en Haïti, au Canada, quel que soit côté nous y est dans le moment ça que nous parlé, il y a un pile souci qui rendent que nous besoin pour nous en santé mentalement. Samedi prochain, nous avons un professionnel en santé mentale qui est là ensemble avec nous pour venir adresser sujet ça. Donc nous invitons pour capable là ensemble avec nous venir et ensuite nous capables apprendre et nous capables continuer à apprendre ensemble et faire différence même si c'est un monde à la fois dans la communauté. Partager information, partager et flyer là nous recevoir pour l'autre monde capable joindre information ça parce que je pense que au moins il y a monde capable bénéficier et comme ça nous capable faire différence que nous avons fait dans la communauté que nous avons. Donc avant même que nous séparer, nous disons merci à tout le monde, chaque monde qui est monté, nous disons merci encore à Scherly, merci à Marlène qui t'a fait une présentation, à tout le monde qui t'a eu une chance de poser des questions. Ou bien en writing, ou bien vocalement, nous disons toutes merci et nous souhaitons encore une fois bonne année et bonne semaine. Nous demandons quel que soit côté nous, nous sommes capables de proposition révérencieuse, pour nous capables de prier avant même que nous séparer à soi. C'était un plaisir pour nous être ensemble avec vous. Avec les nous pour la prière. Notre Dieu, notre Père céleste, nous te disons merci pour le privilège d'être ensemble encore ce soir pour écouter et apprendre. Apprendre à te faire confiance dans tous les domaines de notre vie, spécialement ce soir dans le domaine de notre finance. Nous te demandons de nous aider à faire de bons choix et à te représenter dans la communauté où nous vivons. Pardonne-nous bénis pour nous la soirée, bénis la nouvelle semaine pour nous et permet que nous puissions retourner ici samedi prochain pour passer encore un moment d'apprentissage avec nos amis et frères et sœurs. Que ta grâce nous accompagne. Au nom de Jésus, nous te prions qui vit et demeure au siècle des siècles. Amen. Merci encore et